You see your six-figure paycheck, then your bank account. The math is wrong. You did everything right. You got the degree, you climbed the ladder, you earn more money than your parents ever dreamed of. So why do you feel like you're one bad month away from disaster? This isn't about yachts and extravagance. It's about the silent creep of obligations. The mortgage on the good school district house, the 2-car payments, the student loans that feel like a life sentence. The income goes up, but the financial freedom goes down month after month. If you earn a great salary but feel like you're constantly running on a treadmill, you're not alone. This isn't a personal failure, it's a trap. And for professionals like doctors and lawyers, it's an incredibly effective one. We're going to investigate this paradox. Why are the people society thinks are rich often the most financially fragile? What are the invisible traps that systematically catch high earners? And by the end of this investigation, you'll have a simple 3-step framework to escape this trap, including one automated system you can set up in the next 5 minutes to start buying your freedom back. You'll make your net worth your new obsession starting tonight. This paradox isn't an accident. It's the predictable result of 2 powerful, invisible traps set specifically for high-achieving professionals. The first trap ensures you start the race a decade behind everyone else. We'll call it the debt anchor. Think of a newly graduated physician. After more than a decade of training, they emerge with a medical degree and, according to education data, an average student loan balance of $243,483. Their first day as an attending physician, their net worth isn't zero. It's negative $250,000. Let's do the math on that. On a standard repayment plan, that debt translates to a monthly payment of nearly $3,000 for 10 years. So if their new attending salary is $200,000 a year, that's over $16,000 a month before taxes. After taxes, that $3,000 loan payment is consuming a full quarter of their take-home pay every single month for a decade. This isn't just a number on a spreadsheet, it's a 10-year handicap. For the first decade of their career, a significant portion of their powerful income isn't used to build wealth. It's used to dig out of a hole. While their peers who chose different paths, a plumber, an electrician, a sales manager who started at age 22, were buying assets and investing, the doctor and the lawyer were just trying to get back to zero. Let's be specific. That plumber who started at 22? For the 10 years the doctor was in training and residency, the plumber was earning and investing. Let's say they put just $500 a month into a simple index fund. By the time the doctor makes her first attending salary payment, the plumber, after a decade of compounding, is already sitting on a nest egg of over $85,000. So the gap between them isn't the doctor's negative $250,000. It's $1/3 wide. One is climbing a mountain of debt, the other is riding an escalator of compound growth. Which path sounds more familiar to you? Let me know in the comments if you started behind on a mountain of debt or ahead on that escalator of growth. But digging out of that hole is just the first trap. The second is what keeps high earners there long after the loans are paid off. It's quieter, more insidious. It's called the status treadmill. Imagine a lawyer who finally makes partner. For 15 years she's worked punishing hours, delayed gratification, and watched her friends in other fields buy homes and go on vacations. Now she's arrived. With that new title comes an unspoken set of expectations. Now you might be thinking, good for her, after 15 years of punishing hours, she deserves it. And you're right, she absolutely does. The problem isn't the reward, it's the motivation. The pressure is immense and it's specific. It's the scuffed bumper of her 10-year-old Honda parked next to a senior partner's new Porsche. It's the subtle comment from her mother-in-law about how nice it would be to have a guest room. It's her own reflection when she imagines hosting the firm's holiday party in her cramped, outdated kitchen. What's the biggest status purchase you've ever felt pressured to make? Drop it in the comments below. We've all been there. So she buys the new German sedan. She buys the bigger house in the better neighborhood. These aren't purchases of joy, they're purchases of conformity. They're signals to her professional and social circles that she has reached the level of success her income is supposed to represent. This is the core of the high-income, low-net-worth problem. Every salary increase is immediately consumed by a corresponding increase in lifestyle. It's a treadmill. You're running faster and faster, your income is climbing higher and higher, but you're not actually going anywhere. After a decade of earning a top-tier salary, many find their net worth is barely positive. They traded a decade of their one life, their highest earning years, for the approval of people they barely know. You can't fight an enemy you can't see, and most high earners have never truly seen their financial enemy. That's why I've created a simple personal balance sheet template you can download for free. It's the first step to seeing the full picture. The link is in the description. These two traps, the debt anchor and the status treadmill, are fueled by a focus on the wrong number. As long as you measure your success by your paycheck, you'll stay stuck. To escape, you have to change the game entirely, and that starts by changing the scoreboard. The new scoreboard has only one number on it, your net worth. It's the only true measure of your financial health. The definition is brutally simple. It's everything you own minus everything you owe. Your assets, cash, investments, real estate, minus your liabilities, student loans, mortgages, credit card debt. That's it. That's your score. Your income is just the fuel. Your net worth is the engine. What you own matters infinitely more than what you earn. To see why, let's contrast two careers. First, a surgeon. She earns $400,000 a year. After a decade of delayed gratification, she feels she's earned a certain lifestyle. She leases a new BMW, buys a large house in an expensive neighborhood, and joins the country club. 10 years into her career, after making $4 million in gross income, her net worth is $50,000. Now, consider a plumber. He earns $85,000 a year. He never feels the pressure to signal his success. Instead of buying a big house, he buys a duplex, lives in one half and rents out the other. He invests 20% of his income, month after month, into low-cost index funds. 10 years into his career, his net worth is $650,000. The plumber is wealthier than the surgeon. Let that sink in. Does that math surprise you? Let me know with a simple yes or no in the comments. Not happier, not a better person, wealthier. It's not an opinion, it's a mathematical fact and a perfect illustration of the high-income, low-net worth trap. That $650,000 figure isn't arbitrary. According to MoneyWise, a net worth of around $659,000 is what a US household needs to be in the top 25%, a number that's achievable for the plumber, but often completely missed by the high-earning doctor. This is the exact path documented by wealth builders like Thomas Stanley and followed by modern professionals like Dr. Leif Darlene, the physician on fire, who achieved financial freedom not by out-earning his peers, but by obsessively tracking and growing his net worth. Now, the immediate objection is, doesn't focusing on net worth just turn you into a cheapskate who never enjoys their money? It's a fair question, but the evidence shows the opposite. People who track their net worth don't just save more, they spend more intentionally on what they truly value because they can see the direct trade-off between a luxury expense today and a tangible piece of freedom tomorrow. They see that the $5,000 watch isn't just $5,000, it's $5,000 that isn't compounding in their investment account, buying back their future time. It reframes every financial decision. That reframe, seeing every dollar as a choice between consumption and freedom, is the entire game. And the people who win it follow the same three-step framework. These aren't theories, they're the documented paths of financially successful professionals. The first step is to automate your ownership. Most people have heard the advice to pay yourself first, but this framing is flawed. It still sounds like an expense. The correct framing is to buy assets before you pay for your lifestyle. Dr. Jim Daly, the emergency physician behind the White Coat Investor, famously advises new doctors to live like a resident for a few years after training. This isn't a punishment, it's a strategic, temporary maneuver to create a massive gap between what you earn and what you spend. That gap is where wealth is built. The system is simple. Set up an automatic transfer from your checking account to your investment account for the day after you get paid. Research from Physician on Fire shows that financially successful doctors save at least 20% of their gross income. So that's your starting point. Before you pay the mortgage, before you buy groceries, you buy a piece of your own freedom, you automate ownership. The second step is to create a freedom fund. This is a separate investment account, like a brokerage account, that's completely distinct from your primary retirement accounts like a 401k or an IRA. Those retirement accounts are for your future self, decades from now. They can feel abstract. The Freedom Fund is for your freedom in the next 5 to 10 years. Its only purpose is to buy assets that either produce income or appreciate in value. This is the exact strategy used by surgeon Dr. Corey Fawcett, who focused on using his savings to create multiple streams of income. This system changes your psychology. You're no longer just saving money, you're accumulating capital to deploy. Every dollar in this account is a soldier you can send out to work for you. It transforms you from a saver into an owner. Finally, the third and most important step is to redefine your status symbol. This is the antidote to the status treadmill we talked about earlier. It requires a conscious decision to shift your internal measure of success. Your peers may measure status by the car they drive, the zip code they live in, or the logo on their watch. You will measure it by a number only you can see, the balance of your freedom fund. The new status symbol isn't the German sedan. It's seeing your net worth cross into the top 25% of US households, reaching that $659,000 mark we discussed. It's knowing that every month, your assets are generating more income than they did the month before. You consciously reject the external game of signaling success through spending, and you start playing the internal game of achieving freedom through ownership. Of these three steps, automate ownership, the freedom fund, or redefining status, which one are you going to implement first? Declare it in the comments to make it real. Here are the three things you'll do tonight to draw a line in the sand. First, calculate your net worth. Tonight, pull up a spreadsheet or a free app. On one side, list everything you own, your assets. On the other, list everything you owe, your liabilities. Subtract your liabilities from your assets and find your number. This is your new scoreboard. It might be painful to look at, but it's the truth, and it's your new starting line. Second, automate your ownership. Log into your bank account right now. Create an automatic transfer for 15% of your gross income to an investment account and schedule it for the day after your next paycheck arrives. Don't overthink it. Don't debate the percentage. This is non-negotiable. This single action automates your ownership. Third, redirect one luxury. Pick one recurring non-essential expense, the daily fancy coffee, a subscription box, the expensive gym membership, and for the next 30 days, redirect that exact amount of money into your freedom fund. This isn't about deprivation, it's an exercise to prove to yourself with your own money that you're the one in control. If this kind of evidence-based framework for building wealth is what you've been looking for, subscribe to the channel. We release a new investigation every week. That feeling of looking at your paycheck and your bank account and the math not making sense, that ends tonight. A high income isn't a curse. It's a powerful advantage, but only if you escape the psychological traps that create the high income, low net worth problem. By focusing on your net worth, you stop playing the game of status and you start playing the game of freedom. The question is no longer, what do you earn? The only question that matters is, how much of your life do you own?